Someone wise once said that it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you pick yourself back up. And junior running back Barrington Scott, he's gotten knocked down quite a bit in his football career.
Well, there are a lot of new faces in camp for this spring, some freshmen enrolling early, a couple transfers coming from other schools, but one new face is the new offensive line coach, Nick Tabacca. If you looked at the beginning of this season, you could argue you didn't think Ball State would be here. A brand new coaching staff, only one senior on the roster, only 7 players on the team. But 3 months later, Ball State finds itself in a unique position.
And that's going to be the key for Pacer fans. You got to keep it positive. It was a physical series between the Pacers and the Heat, but in the end, those two guys, James and Wade, yeah, they're really good.
You're watching WFFT Local News, first at 10 in high definition.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Renkel, and the Colts may have pulled yet another rabbit out of its hat yesterday with another come-from-behind win, this time a 27-23 victory over the Tennessee Titans. The team is now 9-4 on the year and in prime position for a playoff spot, but there's only one problem. The injuries, they're really starting to pile up. Oft-injured rookie tight end Colby Fleener rolled his ankle in the second quarter. He left the game for a little bit, but he later returned. The same could not be said for linebacker Cavell Connor, fullback Robert Hughes, running back DeLone Carter, and offensive lineman Winston Justice. And a big shakeup for the Ravens today, and it involves former Colts head coach Jim Caldwell. At 9-4, the AFC North leading Baltimore Ravens kind of surprisingly fired offensive coordinator Cam Cameron. He was a former IU head coach as well, and replaced him with Caldwell, who had been the team's quarterbacks coach after being fired by the Colts last season. And another week and even more questions about the health of Bears quarterback Jay Cutler. Tyvel Jemison has reportedly committed to play football at Purdue next season. The senior defensive back had reportedly committed to the Boilermakers before Danny Hope was fired. Now, it kind of flew under the radar, and he now reportedly has a meeting with new head coach Daryl Hazel just to reaffirm Jemison will be taking his talents to West Lafayette. And with the NHL lockout still at a stalemate, here's a shocker. The league decides to cancel some more games. The NHL announced today that it will indeed scrap all games through December 30th. And here's the head scratcher. These latest round of cuts will reportedly lose the league around $600 million, while the players are on track to miss 6 of its 13 paychecks for this season. Must be nice not to need all that money. That's all for sports. We're back after this.
In minor league baseball, the goal is to develop players for the future. And it's hard to imagine a better coach and mentor than Tin Caps pitching coach and former major leaguer Willie Blair.
You know, I've pretty much experienced everything that they're going through and everything that they will go through on their way, up to the big leagues.
Blair played 12 seasons in the majors with 8 different teams, including his current bosses, the San Diego Padres. In his second season as a coach, he brings a unique experience, seeing action not only as a starter,
but also out here in the bullpen as a reliever and closer. And having all that diverse experience has really helped him connect with his pitchers.
My experience just kind of, was all over the board. So I've had success, I've had failure, started, I've relieved, been really good, really bad at times. I've struggled, had times where I felt like I was the best pitcher in the world. All those things add up, and it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to communicate with all of them.
Although Blair enjoys watching games from the Parkview Field dugout, he hopes to one day once again watch games from the Major League dugout, this time as a coach.
Obviously, I'd like to get back to the big leagues. I think that's everybody's goal that's in this game. They'd love to be at that level. At the same time, there's only a few jobs up there. So I just love being back in the game and working with the kids.
As Blair uses his experience to help develop players, in return, the players are helping him develop into a coach. For The Locker Room, I'm Chris Renkel.
Here comes Steven's shot. Come on, shot. This is not an easy kick. You've got to turn it.
Pressure. You can't see it, you can't hear it. But when the game is on the line, you can feel it. Pressure is something Ball State kicker Steven Schott knows all about. Massillon, Ohio, where the citizens bleed the orange and black of the Tigers. It's a place that from the minute a baby boy is born, the pressure is on to play and succeed in football.
The town just goes crazy. There's signs up in all the buildings. The players have their pictures up on local businesses. You know, growing up, it's like life or death. You know, I've loved that. I've loved the pressure that's always been on me as as a player.
The pressure is always greatest on the final week of the regular season, with a rivalry that dates back to 1894.
Massillon-McKinley, you know, the rush you get against them is like no other rush, no other game. It's one of the most intense rivalries in the nation, I would have to say.
His junior year, Stephen made a 47-yard kick in the third quarter to put Massillon ahead 10-7. There was no more scoring the rest of the game, and the Tigers won. Stephen would beat McKinley 3 times in 5 meetings and ended up as the all-time leading kicker in Massillon's 118-year history.
There's pressure to be good, there's pressure to win. At an early age, I learned that, you know, if I want to be good at this, I'm going to have to handle that and, you know, do my job the right way, especially when I've gotten here because, you know, this is Division I football now, and, you know, you're not a little kid anymore. You know, you want to do well for those guys who went before you and the guys who are going to play after you. You want to, you know, leave that legicy.
On to the hold. The snap is there. It's down. The kick is up. It's on the way. It's got the leg, and it is good!
Pressure. It can break down a player or make them the hero. But pressure to Stephen Schott is nothing new. It's just business as usual.
Stephen Schott is a hero!
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Chris Renkel.